Here's a truth that might surprise you. Making $200,000 a year means that you're financially free. It's actually not true. One of my clients actually was in this situation, was not debt free, and felt like they were actually broke. But I'm going to show you today how we helped this same client pay off $35,000 in 1 month. So let's take a look at this client's profile, see their finances, and see how we were able to help them accomplish this goal. So this particular client was making about $20,000, a little bit over $20,000 every month. Now you're thinking, how in the world are you broke? How is this an issue? How do you feel like you have all these problems? Most of the time when you see high earners, that sometimes also means they have high expenses and high debt. So really about that, at that income, we've got about $246,000 in annual salary going on here. But that also means that, like I said, there's going to be high expenses, high debt. This same client also has $242,000 in debt. That is close to $250,000 in debt. And so they came to me, Cameron, we're in this issue. We were having problems with our finances. Can you help us get out of the situation? Now, I will say to date, this is probably one of the biggest clients I've had as far as debt. So, of course, just being fully transparent, I'm trying to think of a game plan, how we're going to figure this out. And so we sit down, we talk about what's the goal. Because, you may say, hey, I want to get out of debt in 3 months. Well, we break it down, and our goal is simply this. Can we get out of this situation in 12 months? What does this look like? How can we put all this together? Well, also, they felt like they didn't have a system. They didn't feel like they had a financial system. They felt like money was coming in, but they couldn't find it. They had no margin, oftentimes having negative margin. And their third goal was that they wanted to have healthy margins. So they wanted to be in the positive. And so that is simply what we're going to do today, and show you exactly how we took this couple from where they were to where they are now today. So really, if we want to break it down, let's look at what their current situation is. So the husband is actually making close to $12,000 a month. And then the wife is making $9,000 a month, which takes us to our $20,500. Now, currently, they only have one checking account right now. Now, if you've seen anything I've talked about before, commingling is typically the issue here. This means that all their money is flowing into one place, and that means that all this money, this $20,000, is going into one checking account and it's going out at the same time. So that relieves a lot of confusion, which could be an issue. There's a lot of dates. There's a lot of things that you have to look at, especially when you have high income, right? But then on top of that, they also had a savings account that was inside the same bank account. And so I suggested that maybe they get a high yields savings account, which would help them grow their interest, but put it away from their checking account, making it online or making it outside of their primary bank. And they had a business account, which was also something that we talked about that they really didn't keep track of, but they also just had it as just another account. So that was what they were dealing with currently before joining. So they decided to join our Earners Academy, which is our financial coaching program. And before they joined the program, here's their situation. They had negative margin. They had negative $2,000. Meaning they were making $20,000 a month, but they actually were in the red every month. They had no system. They had a crazy amount of debt. And of course, with all these issues comes with a very high stressful life. Of course, if you're making more money, that probably means you have a job that has high stress, high demands of you. But then on top of that, you're coming home and you can't figure out exactly how you're going to pay your bills. And so those are a lot of things that you're dealing with when you are making income. So it's like, oh, I want to make this certain amount of money. Well, just know that there's a price that comes with that. So they join our Earners Academy, and this is what happens after. But before we get into that, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel down below. Are you struggling with debt or feeling like there's never enough at the end of each month? Or maybe you want to create more income, or maybe you want to start investing but don't know where to start? You're not alone, but you don't have to stay stuck there. The Earners Academy is a financial coaching program where we're helping countless individuals and families eliminate 3 to 4K in debt in less than 30 days, build full emergency funds in less than 90 days, and finally create financial margin inside of their budget. Through accountability, through a game plan, and through guidance, we'll help you on your way to financial freedom. So are you ready to take the first step? Book your consultation today and start building the financial future that you deserve. So we look at their situation. We say, okay, hey, where do we start? Well, we're going to do a financial audit. We're going to look through all your finances, see what's going in, what's going out, taking a really good look at that. And then we're going to also break this goal down into 3 months. So we're going to see, okay, all right, we have a 12-month goal. What can we accomplish in 3 months? Because when you have a big mountain of debt, it seems like you're never going to achieve your goal, or you're not going to get over the mountain. So we're going to break it down smaller, get some small wins, build some momentum, and get them to their goal of just their 3-month goal. And then we're going to implement the Smart 7 system. They didn't have a budget system, so this is going to help them be able to see their finances, be in a good place financially, and also just be able to track their money a lot better. So what is the Smart 7 system? What does this look like? How do I set this up? Well, the Smart 7 system is simply this. It is 7 different checking accounts. And I know that sounds crazy. It sounds like a lot to deal with, but it's 7 different checking accounts. And this just helps you to be able to organize your finances and really follow your money and know where it's going. So the first account that you're going to open is going to be your income account. And that is where all your paychecks and all your money flows into. Your second account, which is not in any particular order, is going to be your recurring expenses. So that's going to be fixed amounts, whether that's going to be your Wi-Fi, subscriptions, anything that doesn't really change on a month-to-month basis. Your third account is going to be your day-to-day. So this is going to be, variable costs, maybe utilities, maybe your water bill. Some people put their landscaping in here as well, but these are just things that you use on a day-to-day basis. They also even put car insurance in this category. You can put that in recurring or day-to-day, whichever is your choice. Your fourth is going to be your home. So this is going to be your mortgage, your rent. This couple in particular may have had a second mortgage. There are things that are just going into your home account that are going to go there. And then 5 is going to be your debt destroyer, which is going to be your debt payments, minimum payments, large accounts, personal loans. All that is going to be in your debt destroyer account. 6, we've got giving. So that's whether you're tithing to your church, a nonprofit, a charity that you're passionate about, is all going to be in your giving account. And then 7, miscellaneous. This is going to be random, maybe fund money, allowance, things of that nature are all going to flow into your miscellaneous account. And so let's break down really what this looks like, really that's kind of a 10,000 foot view. Let's get into the nitty gritty and look at their dispersion of their actual budget, which is really the secret sauce of the Smart 7 system. And so what does this look like? Well, oftentimes when you get paid and, both of you are getting paid, if you're husband and wife, you're just putting everything into one account and you're kind of just putting all the money right there. So what I love about the dispersion of the budget is you kind of contribute based on your paycheck. Now, you're one household, so it's all going in the same place, but we all have different buckets, right? So every account, I want you to think of it as a bucket and we're filling it up together. And so the husband is making $11,500. So we'll take a look at his first. So he's got $11,500. Well, he's getting paid on a biweekly basis. So what do? We typically set it up to where what I like to do first, let me say this. What I like to do with this is I like to take all the thinking when you get paid. So you know exactly how much you're paying, where it's going, and that eliminates, it's like, oh, well, did I pay this bill? Did I have to worry about this? No, you're just putting it in the bucket and letting everything auto draft. So in this case, before we took a look at their budget, they had about $6,280 in recurring expenses. We took a look at it. We cut a couple things that weren't necessary at the time, and we got that budget down to $5,977. So we're gaining margin here, right? So on this side, he was putting in about $3,000, $3,353 a month. Well, he was getting paid twice, so we broke that down in half, and so he was really putting in about $1,600, close to $1,700 per pay period when he got paid every Friday. We go down to day-to-day. It was $3,000, $3,665, and then now we brought that down to actually $2,350. So he's putting in $1,318, which is essentially $659 per pay period. Same thing with the home. It goes on and on. So we go to hers as well. So hers is going to be the same because it is the same amount. So she's putting in $1,312 per pay period, total $2,624. Day to day, $1,000.32, $516 per pay period. Same with home account. We got the same thing going on here on both sides per pay period. Now we have debt we're going to come back to here in a second, because at the end we are trying to find out what your margin is. That is what the goal is. We'll decide on what your debt is on the back end. So giving, they had $84 on his side, $66 on hers. Miscellaneous was actually, this is really probably the biggest change that we made. Their miscellaneous, which is fun, random expenses, was about $3,000 right at $3,000. We dropped that all the way down to $400. Now you may think, oh, that's cutting a lot. It was a lot of things that weren't necessary. We're trying to get you out of debt. So we want to make sure that we cut some unnecessary expenses for the time being. I would love for you to bring it back, but we have to get to margin. So we cut that cost down. And if we want to look at this, their margin before anything debt related was $7,000 left over at the end. So we go back in for month one, and actually we decide to use that margin wholeheartedly, and we put in $3,927 for the husband, and then we end up putting in $1,963 per pay period for him. The wife, we do $3,074 per pay period. We're looking at $1,537 per pay period. So we take that as month one. We decide that that's pretty much their whole margin. Now, we gave them a little wiggle room to have some fun, but we really wanted to focus on these two items because this is the most important thing that we're trying to accomplish. So we go down. You wonder, okay, well, that's $7,000 in margin. What are we going to do? Well, month one, we have a great month. We pay off $7,000. Now, I know you're saying, okay, well, that they had 250 something thousand. We're making steps. We're making a goal. Month two, you know what we do? We decide, okay, hey, let's move out the fun money. Let's get rid of it. When actually this was during the summertime. So one of the parents decided to stay. So we get rid of daycare. And then there's also no school, no private education. So we add $3,000 to this margin. So now we're looking at $10K in margin. We take the same approach. We come back. We put $10,000 here. So you're looking, okay, well, that is $17,000 in 2 months. That's a lot of debt going away. Yes, we have a big mountain to climb, but we have also paid off a lot in a short amount of time frame. Well, it gets even better. We go to month three, and there's a major sale, a major item that they sell, and they gain $26K from that item. Now you think, oh, okay, this is really simple. No, typically people, when they make sales like this, they usually do not take that money and pay off debt. They take it, they go on a trip, they go buy maybe a new car. But no, we decided this was our goal. We wanted to accomplish this goal. Typically, really our goal that we set for 3 months was actually $20,000 just to get a head start. We took that $26K, we added it on top of the margin that we had. And in the month three that we had, we paid off $35,000 in 1 month. Now, okay, what does the margin look like after you pay off that amount of money? That is essentially, in 90 days, we had paid off $52,000. We paid off a quarter, essentially, 20% of actually their whole thing. So we paid off 20% of their debt in 3 months. But the job's not finished, as Kobe Bryant would say. We have a lot to finish and we got to take care of. However, we got $10K in margin. We now have a financial system. We now have less stress because we still have good income. We still have things we have to take care of. And then we also now have I think this is the most important part, is we now have faith that we can accomplish this goal. We're 1/5 of the way there. And that's still a lot. But if you stay consistent, if we're 1/5 of the way there, what do the next 12 months look like? What do the next 18 months look like when you get rid of all of your margin and you have no issues with your money? You now have a peace of mind. And so that wraps up exactly what we did in 90 days. Can't wait to share this and see how things go in the next year. But thanks for tuning into this video. And if you want more content like this, be sure to check out these videos.